The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on a break!
with Ambar Garcia, Voch Lombardi, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, January 21st, 2025. Season 21, episode number 105. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break Live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's number one OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. We got our normal crew in here, and we've added for this week Mr. Tommy Yarrish. Coming to bring a little excitement. I felt like it was the right thing to do, especially after yesterday. Seemed like y'all were developing such great chemistry on the draft show that it might make sense to just throw you in over here. Voch went viral, I think, yesterday, talking about some man named Hella Trash. I think his name was.
That was last week.
Was that last week?
That was.
I thought it was yesterday.
Nah, yesterday was. I don't even know if I can say it again.
Yeah, let's not. But
I don't know
last
if it'll
week,
be, and I don't even know if it'll be in good taste because Ms. Ambar is here. But
then don't do it. Please
the previous shows, there is a Dr. Elatrash,
renowned surgeon, Dr. Neil Elatrash.
But I thought that
lovely man, by the way.
Fantastic surgeon. Yeah. Excellent at his job.
Because we was talking about Dr. Cooper, and some people been coming back with some bad knees or whatever after going to Dr. Cooper. I ain't saying he's doing a bad job. I'm just noticing that even after they go to him, I'm like, man, I wonder if players are going to end up second guessing. Maybe Trevon or something. That's why. But then I find out there's another ACL doctor, Dr. Elatrash, but I thought he said Hella Trash. I'd rather go to Dr. Cooper than go to somebody named.
I'd rather go to anybody than Hella Trash.
Helatrash.
If the name is Hella Trash, I'm a little bit worried. I'm with you on that.
I'm just glad that we ain't fired because I said it. I mean, you got a smile on your face, so that means we straight for now.
I haven't gotten a phone call yet, so let's just keep our fingers crossed and we'll hope that nothing ever comes of this.
Shouts out to the people in charge of not getting us fired. I appreciate it.
By the way, we love all the doctors out there.
Yes.
Good job, guys. You guys are doing a great
Serious
job.
apologies to Dr.
I'm not apologizing. His name's crazy.
Anyway, we got a lot we're going to get into today. We got a little Yeti time that we're going to do with AG. She has a little game for us in the third segment. We got our Yeti cups, and we're ready to go. So
you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
This was your idea?
Yes. You're welcome.
But it was not her cup. It was my cup that I bestowed upon you.
But it all started with the brains right here. So you're welcome.
So it's your cup?
It's my cup.
Thank you.
It's your cup now.
It's my cup
It's
now.
your cup now.
So thank you.
Thank Yeti. How about that?
Thank you, Yeti, so much
you
for
go.
making. I actually got a couple Yeti coolers. You know, I be barbecuing and things like that. I just throw the brisket in and let it rest, and man, it hold ice for like 5 days and all that. Yeah, to give us some more money.
Yeah, I got my Yeti cooler ready for this weekend just in case.
I didn't know they made
down.
bowls.
Bowls?
Yes.
Wait,
To keep you super.
like actual bowls?
Like big bowls. Like yesterday at the training table, all the like salads and
We're in Yeti bowls.
Yeah, and like the
Does it keep all that stuff cold?
I assume so.
But it doesn't have a top on it.
No, but it's the same material. Like it's like a Yeti cup, but a bowl and like
Learn
a
something
big
new every
size
day.
bowl where you can put like salad. Well, that's what they had, like dressings and salads.
That's a
and
pretty
stuff.
good idea. I like that.
Yeah, I had no idea they made that.
Well, it's Yeti's idea, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good
Shouts
job,
out to them
Yeti.
for thinking that.
Yeti on it.
Yeah, shouts out to Yeti.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get to that Yeti, little Yeti time in the third segment. I wanted to start though first today with a little talk around the defensive coordinator interviews. It feels like, and because you can't really say it for sure because you don't really know. I don't know. I've not talked to ownership about this, but it feels like they've narrowed this search down to 3 or 4 guys at this point. You've got Christian Parker, you've got Durante Jones, you've got Jonathan Gannon, and Jim Leonard, although he has not had a second interview, the conventional thought is the reason he has not had a second interview is because his team is still playing. Denver Broncos are still in it. They have a game this weekend. So we'll see how that all pans out. But I remember last week, Voch, you were saying you kind of prefaced it with, I don't really know these guys. Mm-hmm. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to bring in Tommy. And Tommy, who's kind of done some research on these guys, let him give us some pros and cons for each of these. And then we'll discuss from there how we rank these guys and what we would like to see. So, Tommy, I'm going to turn it over to you. Why don't you give me some some pros and cons for first Christian Parker.
Christian Parker. Okay, so that's the Eagles defensive pass game coordinator and DB's coach. Pros, of the 4 finalists that you lined out, he's one of the 3 that have already come in for second in-person interviews. He has the best track record developmentally. Developed Patrick Surtain into an All-Pro and 2 Pro Bowl nods. He joined his rookie season when the Broncos drafted him. His rookie season, he had 4 picks and a pick 6. And then he goes to the Eagles, and both Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are All-Pros in their second seasons. And then back-to-back top 10 passing defenses in the last 2 seasons. They've been in the top half of the NFL interceptions in both years, both top 10 overall in takeaways. And, of course, the familiarity with the NFC East is what you're going to get with Christian Parker. The cons with Christian Parker, he has not been an NFL defensive coordinator. He has no coordinator experience at all at any level. He's only been in the NFL since 2019. So you wonder, could you handle all of the responsibilities that come with being a defensive play caller in terms of the linebackers in the front 7? Sure, the secondary is great, but so much comes from your pass rush and all that. So do you feel like he has a good feel for being able to call an entire defense? That would be the pros and cons there with Mr. Parker.
All right, going to Durante Jones.
Yeah,
real fast though, Tom. Something that'll really help a secondaries coach, and all these guys are like secondaries coach.
All of them are, yeah.
All of them are.
Except for Gannon, yeah.
How much do you need to coach Quentin Williams opposed to some of the guys that's in our secondary? So just in Cowboy land, right? All right, Aaron Whitecott, whoever, D-line coach or whatever. Hey, you just take those guys and knock yourself out. And where the most work is needed, I'll just go and do that thing. So please, Tom.
I would push back a little bit on that, though, in the sense that I think a pass rush is such a big problem for you, that the lack thereof. If you're putting way too much stress on your secondary. If you can't, sure, you can coach these guys to be much better.
Sure.
But if nobody's getting after the quarterback and they're covering for 5-6 seconds, you're asking a lot there.
And the other thing I'll say on that, too, is when you're having to coordinate all that, because you need it to match up. You need what you're doing on the front end to match up with the back end. Because he has not done that, that's where you're taking a little bit of a risk,
right?
Because he just hasn't been in a situation where he's had to coordinate, okay, here's how I want the rush to go and how I want the secondary to complement that, right? That's the part that I would be a little bit concerned.
That's true, too.
All right, Durante Jones, Vikings defensive pass game coordinator. Your pros, he helped lead the number 2 passing defense of the NFL in passing yards allowed, number 2 in passing touchdowns allowed this past year. They've been back-to-back top 10 takeaway defenses, and he could bring some of those aspects of that Brian Flores approach that Brian Schottenheimer just raved about that week they played the Vikings, in terms of you're going to get a lot of cover zero. They're going to be one of the top blitz teams in the league, and that's going to come with you to Dallas a little bit. You would think that that's probably part of his philosophy, although a lot of his experiences come in the secondary. The cons, similarly to Parker, he has no NFL DC experience. They struggled in 23 and 24 with Jones there in the same position as the defensive pass game coordinator in passing yards allowed. They finished 24th and 28th, respectively, in the NFL. 19th and 25th in interceptions in 2023 and 2025, respectively. And then the question that I have with him, kind of similarly to Parker, is the heavy blitz rate and it getting home the reason why the Vikings defense has been so successful in the back half of the secondary and the corners and the safeties. And then with Parker versus Jones, the Vikings and Brian Flores in general lean heavily on veteran players as opposed to some of their younger guys. You look at some of the guys in that secondary, Harrison Smith and players like that have been around for a long time. They like those older players, whereas Parker has more of a developmental history. So there's a little bit of a difference between those two.
Okay. Let's talk about Jonathan Gannon.
Former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon. He's interviewing with the Packers this week, also interviewed with the Commanders, so 2 NFC East teams in the mix there. Pros, he fits the bill in terms of former experience, right? These coordinators, the last 5 defensive coordinators in Dallas have been former head coaches or defensive coordinators at some point in their career. He was 3 years at Arizona, and then 2 years as the defensive coordinator with the Eagles before that. He's familiar with Clayton Adams, the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, hired him as his offensive line coach with the Cardinals back in 2023. And then when his time as an Eagles defensive coordinator, he was top 10 in total defense in both of those seasons. They were number 2 in 2022 with the number 1 passing defense in the NFL. The cons, buckle up a little bit, as the head coach of the Cardinals, he never had a defense that finished better than 21st in total yards allowed.
Was he calling the defense as a head coach?
I believe so. They finished 15th in points allowed in 2024. That was their best finish. Otherwise, they were 31st in 2023 and 29th in 2025. The highest they finished in takeaways was 19th over those 3 seasons. They were below the league average in pressure rate and sack rate in 3 years. And then he has – so 2 of his mentors and predecessors are Matt Eberflus and Mike Zimmer, 2 guys that have been here before. And I know
I wish you left that part out. 'Cause we
you
already know
wanted all the pros and all the cons.
we already know Voch is out on this at that point.
So
there's sprinkles of.
So you saying Flus is Gannon's big home is what you're saying?
Yeah.
He was part of. He worked under Matt Eberflus in Indianapolis.
Oh man. Do I let you finish?
And you didn't even talk about, what'd you say? He's also Zimmer. Yeah.
Mike Zimmer as well.
I can live.
You can live with Zimmer.
I don't even know, man. Just please go ahead, dog.
There's your pros and cons there.
You're big.
All right. Give me Jim Leonard.
All right, last one, Jim Leonard. So the interesting thing about Leonard, and I was told this just earlier today, the Cowboys. He's the only one that hasn't come in for the second interview.
He didn't even come in for the first one, right? That was
virtual.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
It seems like they want to do that with him. The tricky part is they can do it up until Saturday.
Right.
Well, he's preparing for an AFC Championship game, so there's no way he's going to come down here. Dallas would have to go up to him. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't foresee them doing that. So they would have to wait until either the Broncos lose, or if they win and go to the Super Bowl, until after the Super Bowl. So that's going to be
you
really.
can't in that 2-week period between the championship game and the Super Bowl. They can't meet.
I don't believe so.
Wow.
Which is going to be really interesting if that places a kind of timestamp on this. Like, okay, you got to
A lot of risk in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's highly heralded, and other people are looking at him for the defensive coordinator job. I know the Green Bay Packers are. They're looking for a new defensive coordinator. As far as pros with him, he's the literal dictionary definition of what Brian Schottenheimer was outlining in the end of season press conference. And they were talking about, what are you looking for in a defensive coordinator? Teaching, making complex things simple, developing young players, etc. He's done that. The Broncos jumped from 19th to 7th in pass defense this season. He's part of 2 top 10 overall defenses. He had success as a defensive coordinator at the collegiate level back at Wisconsin. Those Wisconsin defenses under Jim Leonard were really good. And then he's familiar with Brian Schottenheimer. He played for him with the Jets when Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator. Cons, the Broncos were 26th in takeaways, 18th in interceptions this past year. Kind of interesting considering how good that defense is.
Yeah.
He only has
very interesting.
He only has collegiate defensive coordinator experience, no NFL experience, and he's only coached in the NFL for 2 years. Remember that. He was with Wisconsin, and then he was the interim head coach there. But other than that, he's only been in the NFL for a couple of years. And then, of course, they'll need to wait for an in-person interview with him until either one of those scenarios that I outlined earlier happen. You would think, again, this is the NFL, you never know, that the Broncos probably lose the AFC title game considering they're out there starting quarterback. But crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I've seen crazy things happen in the NFL.
You know, who knows? But there's
Bulls got a ring, man.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's exactly right. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, I want you guys to, based upon the pros and cons of what you heard, I'd like you to rank these 4 candidates as far as how you would like or how you would evaluate them if you were if you were the one that was making the decision. We'll be back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. As a Yeti ambassador and the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys, I proudly represent 2 of the toughest brands out there. My Yeti coolers are perfect for hot holding barbecue like smoked brisket and ribs, or keeping beer on ice on those hot game days. Customized with a Cowboys star, America's toughest coolers and drinkware are repping America's toughest team. Keep yourself in some good company and get your officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you. Because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
We're with you. We're united.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Cowboys fans, here's the game plan. Touchdown Tuesday at Take 5 Oil Change. Just wear your Cowboys gear and save 25% on your oil change. No huddle, no overtime. Just drive in, stay in your car, and roll out. You'll be tailgate ready in 10 minutes flat. Keeping up with your car shouldn't be a tough call. Take 5 makes it as easy as calling the coin toss. Take 5 is the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit take5.com to find a location near you. Offer valid through December 31st, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Valid only at participating locations.
Back to the break.
Choose perfection. Choose LG OLED Evo. Check out the best TV in the game at LG.com.
Welcome back. We're in the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're talking about defensive coordinators. Cowboys are in the process of trying to find their next defensive coordinator. There are 4 guys that we've identified that we think are, according to what we're seeing and hearing, are the most likely finalist candidates for this job. So what I want to do, I know Tommy in the last segment, he gave us the pros and cons for each. Some stuff I knew, some stuff I didn't know. I certainly changed my opinion on a couple guys. But that all being said, I want to go around the table. I want you guys to rank these for me. If you were to rank them 1 to 4, how would you rank these defensive coordinators? AG, let's start with you.
Number 1 is the one we talked about, that it seems like it might not happen based on the scenarios, and with Mr. Jim. He seems like the most qualified one out of everybody on there, and I think he's the, as of right now, other than the other guy that I don't think the other popular one that we haven't talked about on this show has not interviewed with.
Talking about coach and
I don't know if we can even say.
You can't even say.
I don't know.
Oh, is he a free agent?
He's a free.
Is he under contract? He's not under contract,
his
right?
Contract's up.
Yeah, if his contract's up, then we can talk about it.
This year, I believe.
Yeah, if his contract is up, we can talk about it. I think he's interviewing for head coaching jobs. That's why we haven't really talked about him, because the Cowboys haven't interviewed him, and I've heard that he's been interviewed. I think I saw that 2 different teams have interviewed him. I know the Steelers interviewed him for a head coaching job.
Yep.
So I think he's looking at head coaching positions. He's not necessarily.
the
It would be a lateral move for him. I don't know
Yeah.
that he'd be looking to do a lateral move as
That
opposed
way
to just
you
going
can
back to
climb.
Minnesota if he's not going to be a head coach, right?
Yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
No, but I know he's like the top one in popularity and the ones that fans continuously talk about.
Yeah,
and we
because
haven't
of what Minnesota did to Dallas. I think we all were like, wow, who's that guy?
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But Leonard, he's my top one after that. After him, I would say the one that kind of intrigues me the most, because I'll be honest, the next 3 just don't do it for me. They everything that Tommy said doesn't get me excited. Even with the pros, I'm just like, eh. But the one that maybe I'm looking at is Parker, and I'm thinking of like, okay, like a whistleblower type of person that comes in,
Sell us the
gives
evil
us the secrets, and yeah, why not? You know, that's the biggest pro I see in my eyes with him. After that, the other 2 candidates, they fall right at the bottom. I mean, the one related with.
Man, you are honest, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I'm not interested. Some of these, honestly, I just feel like, why are we even interviewing them? But that's part of the process. You do have to look and interview the most people that you can and, see what all the options are there. But again, this is coming from someone that even last year when, oh my God, why am I blanking out on his name? Eberflus. When Eberflus was interviewed, I didn't feel any type of way about it. I knew his history, and I was like, okay, he seems like a decent candidate. Bring him in. Let's see what he can do. And then we saw the end result of that. So I'm not the best person to say hey, let me give you the best judgment at the moment. But so far, based on the resume of these guys, no one really catches my attention other than Jim.
All right. Voch.
Just like I said last week, man, I love it when I don't know these people. I love it when you don't have this history of your job not working, you know? For example, I was reading the other day, Adam Gase is like being talked to right now. Boy, with his history, you know what I'm saying? We talk about Adam Gase right now, you know what I mean? But Clayton Adams, I didn't know who the hell Clayton Adams was.
Right.
And look at what he comes in. I like the idea of a young coach, fresh ideas. But what I like about this group of guys that they've brought in is that they've worked under these superpower coaches. So, we can't get Fangio, but we got his guy. We can't get, Flores. I don't know, but we got his guy. The guys that are in charge of like putting their whole thing together. And I guess you just kind of break down who they are, what they do best, and what they'll bring to you. I value. I'll just say Gannon last, first of all. But I'm thinking about Christian Parker, right? And if one of his pros is I'm a teacher or whatever, right? So cool, you're a teacher and you can bring Fangio style here. I think how the Cowboys are going to be built is, man, we don't know if they're going to go and get that one disgruntled pass rush that I'm thinking about maybe in trade situations. But you're probably going to have a bunch of players and your superstar is going to be up front, but maybe a secondary of just hard work guys. You know what I mean? Middle of the road, hard work guys. I would want the coach that can improve the guys, as opposed to we think about Jones, who is, I need this specific type of guy to make my Vikings thing work. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if the Joneses are going to go and get him exactly what he needs to make it work. So if I had to rank it, I would go Parker first because he seems to be the teacher. I don't know a whole bunch about Leonard in that way, but they preach that he's a teacher and high energy guy. I'll go Leonard second. Jones, I would love to have that Fangio thing. I mean that Flores thing to where our safety's moving around, we confusing folk, but I don't know if we can turn that kind of defense around in 2 or 3 years. I'll say Jones third, and I'll go Gannon fourth, simply by the way of who he's associated with. So
I've come to really like Christian Parker as we've done more and more research on this. I think it's evident to me, at least, that it seems like the Cowboys are looking for a secondary focus type of coach.
Mm-hmm. By the way, all of these except for Gannon, passing game coordinator.
Right. So these guys have a strong history in the secondary, and it seems, obviously, given how this past year went, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think his development of young players, think about the Cowboys love Savon Rebel. They love their third-round pick. They think he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah.
And I think he has a really good chance to be with a full off season, and if he gets that brace off of his knee. You also think about the fact they've got 2 first-round picks. And as we've been talking on the draft show, there's plenty of corners out there that could make sense for them in that first round of 12 or 20. So if they're going to go corners, you want a guy that can develop some of those young players. That's certainly a big checkbox. I think he checks that in a lot of ways for you. I think Jim Leonard does a lot of the same things. I watched a coaching video of his at Wisconsin when he was putting on a coaching clinic. And it's very easy to see why players are able to understand what it is that he's teaching them based on how he teaches coaches. Sure. I'm not a football player, but I was able to understand some of the concepts and things that he was laying out in front of them. So I think he's an effective communicator. He's going to bring that high energy stuff that Brian Schottenheimer's looking for. So that makes a lot of sense. So that would be my 1 and my 2. And then Durante Jones, I don't hate the fact that it's so veteran-laden. I don't, because I think that he's got smart players who know where they're supposed to be, and he instills that in them. They know where they're supposed to be. They know what their job is. I don't think Dallas has that on the roster right now. They're way too young at corner, and then their 2 safeties, you just don't know what you're going to get. And you put Donovan Wilson in so many bad situations this year when he's in single high coverage. Malik Hooker's hurt half the year. So I don't think they have the pieces in place for that. Are they going to be willing to spend in free agency to fill that? That's a big question. And then Gannon would be last. I don't discount him for the defensive coordinator work that he did in Philadelphia, but the work as a head coach is a little bit scary because that Cardinals defense was never really anything notable until they played the Cowboys. But that one would worry me just a little bit. I'm not saying it can't work, but I think Voch and I have the same. Do we have the same rankings?
The same rankings: Parker first, Leonard second, Jones and Gannon. Yes, sir.
Well, I will say this.
Tom.
Did you
go ahead?
Well, I'll say this. I'll start at the bottom because I think we all agree Gannon's probably the one that we're least intrigued by. Next would be Durante Jones for me as well. mainly because I look at the numbers you were just telling me about that Minnesota defense, and it seems like the secondary is the worst part of that defense. Like, we really love what that defense was able to do. It sounds like the secondary was the worst part of that defense. So that doesn't really excite me. And I don't know if I necessarily buy into the idea that just because he's there, he'll be able to bring what Flores brings, right? I don't necessarily ascribe to that.
Right.
Then I get to those other two, and it's really more about what I've read about them as coaches. One of the things I read about a Christian Parker that really intrigued me is the way he conducts his meetings. Supposedly, he conducts them in a way to where everyone in the room is expected to be able to understand the why. He doesn't just say, here's what you're going to do. It's not good enough to know what your responsibility is. You have to understand the why. Why are we doing it this way? Why is my role what it is in the context of the overall defense? And I think that makes for a smarter team, smarter players. And although, I think sometimes people can say you can get bogged down, but I think when you have the ability to really think through the full scope of what you're doing, I think it makes you a better player. I think you can play faster, and I think you can adapt quicker because you understand, if I know how what I'm doing relates to the linebacker, then whatever the look is you get, well, I may have to adjust like this because my linebacker's doing this. I have to do this because I know my pass rush is doing this, and I expect it to have these results. And so I love the fact that he really leans heavily on feedback from his players and making sure his players understand the why. So if I had to choose between the two, I probably am still going to give Leonard just a slight edge just because he has experience as a defensive coordinator, even though it's just in college. But he has actually called a defense, so I'll give him a bit of an edge. But, man, I really, really like Christian Parker. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be a guy we're going to be hearing about for years to come. When you talk about coaches in the NFL, what he does, I think, will be something that at some point will get him to the point where he'll probably be a head coach in this league.
Debate team, Derek, boy. Good point, man.
I'm just saying, he really intrigues. I don't know. I can't remember where I read that, and I would give credit to it so you guys could read it as well. But I just thought it was really, really fascinating how he approaches that. And they mentioned that he kind of treats it as he treated as he was being taught when he was getting his criminal justice degree, I think it was. And that was something that he thought was good for him as far as how it helped him understand the material he was learning. So I just love that. I love when people take real life experiences and learning experiences and translates them to football.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
What were you about to say, Amber? You were about to say something or ask a question or something?
I was going to ask you guys a question. I don't know how to phrase it. Yeah, all of y'all. I don't know how to really pose the question, but basically in that end of the season interview that they did, Jerry Jones talked about it's going to be a mutual conversation, mutual decision between him and Brian Schottenheimer in making this hiring decision. My question to you guys is, based on the quote-unquote lack of intervenence, or what's the word?
Intervention?
Intervention, yes. Based on the lack of intervention that we saw last year in that season, with what you were seeing happening on the defensive side of the ball, how qualified or how much value do you give into, let's say, Brian Schottenheimer's decision or evaluation on these hiring?
Can I qualify something here? I don't want to assume that it was a lack of intervention that was the reason for the result. I think it is a plausible thought that the head coach was saying, I really want to see X, Y, Z, and the defensive coordinator said, yeah, I ain't doing that.
Well, I'm just going based on, and we don't know what happens behind.
No, we don't.
I'm just I think posing this question based on, one, the results, the end result, and two, on what was shown to the media. That's all, to the public eye. A lot of things could have happened, but I'm just saying, based on what we've heard them talk in the media and all that, again, a lot of things we don't actually know.
Right, but based on what we heard them say in the media is why I get that impression, because the fact that the head coach and the owner were like, yeah, we thought our linebacker was supposed to be playing. Like, that was the plan, was that he was going to play. We have no idea why he didn't play. That says to me that somebody on the defensive side of the ball made the decision that they weren't going to execute that. You can hold the power, But at the end of the day, how much power do you have when if the guy doesn't do it, what's going to happen?
If you're paying me and I'm not doing what you're telling me to do, I would assume that paycheck would stop coming very quickly. Yes, it happened at the end of the season.
Right.
But when you're talking about urgency, sense of urgency, and the way that Dak Prescott is playing in the season, and you're talking about not wasting any more time, there's no room for, hey, I told you, or I thought we were doing this, you didn't do it, and then it didn't happen, and you're still here, and then, oh, now you're in the press box calling, like, no.
Right.
No.
But
everything she said.
But at that point, they were out of it. Like, did you want them just to ceremonially?
Yes.
That's great. I don't think that's necessarily how they look at it.
I think that's Ambar's point, though, and please, if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong. But, like, if Flus is going to be, like, and I hate we still talk because they don't work anymore, but if Flus is going to be rogue, all right, I'm going to do what I want to do guy, the intervention would be either Shotty going, well, all right, fine, go, and I'll let Aaron call the last 4 games or something. Or Jerry going, okay, well, here's your buyout, holla at you, and I'll see if anybody on the staff could be my next DC prior to doing these interviews. Like, where's the intervention coming from even if Flus went rogue? I think that's what Ambar said.
It is fair to say the Cowboys should have done this. They should have got rid of him if he was doing that.
Sure.
That doesn't mean that it's not true that maybe he was doing that. That's all I'm saying. I don't think we can make an assumption that that the head coach was not saying, I need to see these things, or that the owner was not saying, I need to see these things. I just think that's an assumption I'm not willing to make. I look at it and I say, there is a real possibility here, as what I saw with that linebacker. There's a real possibility that they went into meetings and they came out of those meetings with an expectation, and then it didn't happen on Sundays.
Man, I just know what the result was.
Right,
I don't
and
know
that's
what
fair.
happened behind the doors. But my whole initial question was more about how much are we trusting the evaluation for the hiring of this position? Because at the end of the day, we've gone through quite a few defensive coordinators, and it hasn't worked out just yet. So.
But those hires were more directed at, like, Jerry. Wasn't Jerry more involved with that than Schottenheimer?
Yeah. But I'm talking about after this first year with Schottenheimer, how much are you valuing or trusting his, I don't know, not decision, but evaluation for this position?
Because then now you can go, well, if my new coach goes rogue, do I have somebody that can check him? So now your criticism of Schottenheimer is, are you even checking guys on your staff? Or of Jerry, hey, are you even, like, do you even have it in you to go and fire somebody that's going rogue, or maybe they're not doing their job properly or whatever? Hey, man, that's fair. Hey. Players, but, coaches, I mean, I think Ambar's making
what I will say is, I look at this and I say, it's one thing to have a guy who is a former NFL head coach, who is an older, more senior type coach, where he might feel like, what's the worst you're going to do to me?
Talking about Flus right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
As opposed to you bring in your own guy who is beholden to you. Yeah, he's a more senior guy,
Okay, yeah.
But you bring in somebody that's more beholden to you.
Sure.
Now they got a little more buy-in to, I want to see this head coach do well. I'm gonna listen to what this head coach is asking me to do. Because at the end of the day, we're all adults. Like, Amber, you work on my staff, but if you went rogue, like, ultimately I can't do anything until after the fact. I can't do anything before it. You would have to go rogue for me to then respond to it, right? So grown people are grown people. You can do what you want to do.
I think the problem is if Ambar has 4 more documentaries left and she go rogue for one of them, you let her do the other 3. Like, fire her now, and then let Voch do the next 3 documentaries.
No, but that's actually a great point. That's actually a great point, because you look at it and say, what you do is you keep trying to give her the benefit of the doubt in my shoes. Because I'd be like, man, she's highly decorated.
Yeah.
She wins a lot of awards.
Voch, man.
This time she went rogue, but maybe she won't this next time. So let me give her another shot. Okay, Amber, this time don't go rogue. Just do what you've been.
That's the Flus ain't had no Emmys, is what I'm saying.
Yes,
no
he has.
Emmys.
Yes, he has.
Not with us.
Not with us.
His first 12 documentaries was horrible.
But he was an NFL head coach,
right?
That got that job because of how well he did as a defensive coordinator. So he had some skins on the wall. Now, it's not the ultimate, but he had some skins on the wall. And I think there probably was some earlier parts of the season where they were like, okay, we gonna trust you, dude. Now, come on now. We're going to trust you.
And you know what? He's made great documentaries before. But it ain't like he went from great to good. He went from great to the worst documentaries we've seen in the league.
This is all fair. And by the way, that's why he's no longer here.
That's why he's not.
no longer here.
But that's why I wouldn't let him do them last four.
Right. But I think at that point, I think a lot of it was just kind of like water under the bridge. We know we're making a move at the end of this season. We're already out of it. So it really doesn't matter at this point. Put him up in the booth. Yeah, just get him outside. Put him up in the booth.
Yeah, we should go to break.
No, Ambar,
but before
right.
we go to break, tell me who you agree with, me or Derek. Pick one. Don't think about it. Just say one.
Oh, boy.
Don't even answer, man. Tommy, please don't answer.
I agree with her. I think.
Thank you. Let's go to break.
Crazy.
Thank you.
Crazy.
Good.
Derek,
all right,
Take
we'll
us
be
to
back
break.
to 3 in the studio next week. All right.
So we can do Yeti time or something.
Don't be intimidated.
My job,
Intimidation.
right.
No,
Here we go.
no.
Here we go. Let's take our final break. When we come back, we have a little Yeti time. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
At AT&T, we guarantee our network so you can talk college football with your BFF while taking Buster to the vet.
Hey, yeah, I can't believe he ate the whole thing of chicken wings.
And I can't believe we're staging a comeback. Touchdown!
Yes! Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, you'll automatically get a bill credit for a full day's service. For wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers, must be connected to impacted tower at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
Totally. They have some talent.
Yup, some great talent.
And they got some fight.
Hoping this is the year.
Me too. Oh, I'm Cody, by the way.
I'm Travis.
Nice to meet you, Travis. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys!
Make a new friend based solely on their shirt choice. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. We're in the final segment of the break live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Time for a little Yeti time with AG. Amber, what you got for us?
This segment is presented by Yeti, and you can find them on Yeti.com. All right. So for this one, and we'll try to keep our answers short because we're running out of time, but stop blocking my camera, please. Thank you.
Ooh, hey, man. You're going to be in trouble.
Put you in your place.
Well, she can't put me in my place. She can't.
Shut up, Voch.
I'm not in trouble.
To
be fair, it was rude.
Hey, man.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
Hey, man.
Wow.
I want one of them arguments so bad. I want to be part of one of them. So
You want a hardcore argument?
I do.
You don't.
Put me on mix shots, man. I want to just fuss with something. Please.
You don't.
Okay.
I thought you and Brian were going to have a few. Y'all just never got there.
Brian don't want to smoke for real. Brian
don't want to smoke. It ain't working no more.
All right, sip or answer. So either you answer or take a sip out of your Yeti. I forgot to give y'all water, but
yeah, we're gonna do a
just do
fake
your
sip.
pretend.
My cup got a little dust on it. How long has it been here off?
I got it last year for training camp, but just so you know, it's brand new. It's still got the cardboard little thing on the inside. That's a brand new cup, bro. So
I'm gonna just drink my Deja Blue here, I guess.
Just hold your cup, pretending.
Yeah.
And then
I
that's
got
it.
the different bottle of Deja Blue.
Yeah.
All right. First question. Would the Cowboys' Super Bowl expectations be the same if they were in the AFC instead of the NFC?
Wait, say again?
Would the Cowboys' Super Bowl expectations be the same if they were in the AFC rather than the NFC? Would they be looked at differently if they were in the other conference? Or would they still be what they are?
I don't think so. No, I think people will just perceive the Cowboys as the Cowboys. If where you're going is that some other teams don't get similar criticism for being just as bad as the Cowboys have been, then you're right. But I just think that's just a Cowboy thing. It's just yeah, go ahead.
The only difference I would see is that you could say that by divisions. Like if they were in the NFC South, they'd have been on the cusp of the playoffs. Like they would have been playing that last week to get in the playoffs.
Every year.
Right? But they're in the NFC East and they have to deal with Philadelphia, who tends to be up there with one of the top teams in the league. So, yeah, I think division matters. If they were in the NFC West, they'd have been out of it in week 5. I don't know. Like it just depends on division that you're in more, I think, than anything else in the National Football League.
I mean, it goes both ways. If they were in some other divisions, they would never be part of the conversation.
Right. That's my point. NFC West, they would not have even been in consideration this year because those teams all played really well.
And you could say the same thing for some of the divisions in the AFC, too. I mean, AFC East, the Patriots and the Bills, the South with the Jaguars and the Texans, the West with the Broncos and the Chargers. And year in and year out, really the only conference or the only division that they could maybe have a year in, year out shot in is the AFC North, because Pittsburgh and Baltimore kind of usually stay on that same level. Pittsburgh usually ends up like 9-8 or something. Sorry, Mike Tomlin, but that's just kind of typically where they end up.
And Dallas would be right there with them.
Yeah, and that would be close enough.
Yeah. Who is someone, a player, former player, coach, that fans love, but they wouldn't if they actually knew how they were behind the cameras? And Derek takes his first sip.
Yeah, I think I will.
But you could apply maybe like Cowboys podcast staff, since you haven't, like, you've ran into a few people already, but I don't think you've had any of those type of people. But
I love everybody that does YouTube on content on YouTube. I like all of our media friends. I ain't got nothing bad to say about the people that write stories or nothing like that. Everybody's been pretty open to me, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. You mean as hell in real life. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You're a great host, great co-host when Derek is here.
So you're spreading lies.
Okay.
Okay.
Tommy, how do I say she mean as hell in real life? I know you know.
I don't want to get in that trouble.
I'm tripping, man. Leave, man.
I would just say this.
Ambar nice, bro. I'm playing. Go ahead.
I'll stop talking to you.
I would just
There's
say
an
this.
easy solution there.
That
You
old
see how
adage.
you shake your neck all violently? That's what I'm
The
saying.
old adage, don't meet your heroes in real life.
Yeah.
It's true. Like there are, and I'm not gonna name any names, but there are some that's like the public perception is very different. I will say this though, and I'll take this as an opportunity to give a plug to a guy I absolutely love, because he is who he is all the time with every single person that he comes in contact with, and that's Darren Woodson, who should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets in this year. But you ask anybody that deals with Darren Woodson, former player, media person, person that's rolling around and helping out in the offices, just making sure everybody has what they need from an administrative standpoint. Like, everybody has the same experience with Darren Woodson, because he is that kind of person. It's genuinely that he's just a good person. And I respect that, because that ain't the case with a lot of people. Sure. It's not the case. But I'll tell you that man is a stellar human being, for real.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
I never met Darren Woods, but I'm sure.
Yeah, no.
Take a sip?
If you get a chance to meet him, you'll
Current player or former? Or staff? At least just say the category of which one it was.
I'd say both current and former. I'd say there's some for both.
Okay.
But I mean, you're going to get that anywhere in the league.
By the way, that's
naturally.
life too.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of people in life that you run across.
Yeah.
They have their public relations personality, and they got their behind the scenes personality. That's how most people are. That's fair. Most people are like that.
Last question. Which let's imagine we were in the playoffs.
Okay.
I can't imagine.
That's hard to imagine.
It was just 2 years ago. Stop it. Stop it.
Which and we're taking into consideration, like, not thinking about free agency or anything. We still have the same roster, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which current Cowboys starter would be the biggest liability in the playoffs?
Wow.
They don't work.
Are you trying to get us fired or like?
No,
take a simple
the
answer.
funny part is we got a lot of people we could throw in that
Yeah.
mix. Like, it's not like you could just say, oh, yeah, it's definitely,
They'll be
you
looking,
know.
they'll be looking for Kenny Murray. Man.
Oh, yeah,
They'll
for
be-
sure.
Yeah, I
for
think
sure.
that's a.
But he don't
right
work it
answer.
no more, though, huh? Kenny Murray don't work it.
Does he?
I don't think they.
He'll be a free
He's a
agent.
free agent, but I would be shocked if he works here next year.
Well, his rabbi has left the building, so I don't think he's got anybody that's calling for him anymore.
I was talking with somebody about him earlier today, actually, and the most jarring thing about the way that he played, and I'm not trying to dog on the guy, I promise. I'm sure he's a good dude, but he's probably not.
Maybe.
But the fact that
I don't know. Players will be tweeting at.
Yeah,
we get some of them that hit us up like, "Hey, man, I heard what you said."
Yeah,
People
I'm
tweeting
sorry.
at you, Tom?
Yeah.
That's happened in the past for no reason.
Oh.
Not here anymore. But with
They don't work here no more.
linebackers, like sometimes offensive linemen will climb up and they get you, right? It just happens. They're bigger.
Yeah.
But with him, it was like so many times you would see it and he'd just settle into the block as opposed to, you can try to like get off of it, right? And try to step up and make a play. He would just let himself get carried out of the play further and further and further. And you just can't do that.
I was watching this linebacker last week. I can't remember which linebacker it was, but one of the commentators, I think it was Troy, and he said, because on the play, the linebacker diagnosed the play, and before the offensive lineman could get to him, he got around him, and he was up to make the play. And Troy made the point, for a linebacker, you're giving up size. If you're too slow with understanding what's about to happen, then once that offensive lineman gets on you, it's not even fair to expect they're going to always be able to get off that block because they're giving up so much size.
Yeah.
That's why it's so critical that linebackers understand the game in a way to where they can predict what's going to happen, and they're a beat faster than the offensive lineman can be to get to him. And that's where I think Kenneth Murray had the biggest problem. He just wasn't quick to identify what was happening and be able to react to it quick enough. And so once that guy got on him, it's over.
Game over.
Yeah.
Well, it's game over for this show because we're done for the day. But
Well done, Andy.
next time I won't let you guys be able to copy people's answers, so that way we get more like.
Well, we would have had more time if you wouldn't ask that question in the last segment.
You
That got us derailed.
You went crazy defending
Got us
everything,
derailed.
defending.
Look at the face. Look at the face.
You know.
Don't look at her. Don't
The
make eye
thing is,
contact.
people
Don't make eye contact.
People confuse being quote
I got you.
unquote
What do you
mean, being honest with being mean. But it's either, do you want me to lie to your
No,
face?
be honest.
Exactly.
Trash show tomorrow?
All right, that's a wrap. We'll see you guys next week. Next Wednesday, we'll be back. Till then, for Tommy Yarrish, Voch Lombardi, Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This is
Ambar's great.
Live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.